The 72 were told not to take any money with them, but yet they had all that they needed. They were told to not take any sack to carry stuff. They had all that they needed. They were told they were going to be sent like lambs among wolves, but they had all that they needed. They were told that they might not be welcomed, but they had all that they needed. Because those 72 went forth with the very commissioning, the name, the word, the power of Jesus Christ. You know, I was thinking about our readings today, the word provision came to mind. The provision that comes from the Lord. Those 72 were asked to have this kind of radical dependence upon God and providing for them and being willing to let go of things that hindered them on their mission. And the Lord provided for them. Our first reading from the prophet Isaiah, this comes from Isaiah 66. It's the very last chapter of Isaiah, which spans a lot of decades, actually, of history. It's when the people of Israel who had been in exile were finally able to come back to Jerusalem. They had to rebuild the capital. They had to rebuild the temple. They had to rebuild their lives. But yet, what does God say? He says that I will spread prosperity over you. And even uses this image of them as people as like babies who are nursing and kind of bouncing on the knee and all these kind of things carried. The Lord was going to give them provision. Even in our passage from St. Paul, you can see that he knew that God made him into a new creation and gave him peace and mercy and grace. The Lord provided for his needs. But in this provision, it's not just for ourselves, but it's provision for mission. God ultimately gives us provision for mission so that we can not only receive, but also then be sent out. Those 72, they were pretty successful. Lord, even the demons are subject to us because of your name. But they knew it was Jesus' name that made it all happen. He even said, I've given you the power. And so their success was not really success. It was just walking in faithfulness to what the Lord asked them to do, trusting that the Lord would be the one to make it happen through them. Going back to Isaiah, this is a time again of rebuilding. But I love that image or that context of rebuilding with that image of the infants or the toddlers. Because we know that they can't do a whole lot, even walk 2 by 2. But that's the whole point, I think, is that the Lord is the one that's going to do the rebuilding. One of the Psalms says, if the Lord does not build the house, in vain do the builders labor. It's all God's working to make what he wants to have happen. Of course, we just need to cooperate with that. We have our part to play. It even says, like, the Lord's power will be made known among his people. It's the Lord who gives them provision for mission to follow his will, to do what he looks to do, which in that passage was rebuild his people, rebuild his temple, rebuild his kingdom, at least for the time being. Even St. Paul, when he says, I've been crucified to the world, and the world to me means he was singularly focused on doing the Lord's will. We know St. Paul went out and preached the gospel and founded all these churches, and he knew that he just needed God, and nothing was going to get in the way. He knew the Lord gave him provision for his mission to go out. Same for the 72, and the same then for us. Through our baptism, through confirmation, we're given this commission to go out. That we take all that the Lord has given us, his grace, his mercy, his peace, his love, all those gifts, meant to go out and to bring those to others. To bring God's peace and mercy and justice and grace. Be people who help to bring healing to others, those who go out to help bring some deliverance to others in need, to announce the good things that God has in store for them. He wants to make all of us into a new creation. When we think about going out and spreading the gospel and all those kind of things, it can sound intimidating. And certainly none of us live our faith perfectly. Maybe we're thinking, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I know enough stuff. I don't know that I pray enough. And all this might be true in some way, but we shouldn't let that keep us from trying, from striving to live out the fact that we're sent. Even here at every Mass, the very last thing we hear is to go. The word Mass means go, you are sent. It's all about our going out. We know here in the Eucharist, the Lord provides for us with his very body and blood as our spiritual food and drink, to continue to sustain us, to transform us, to give us that gift of his presence, that provision that ultimately is not just for our own good, but for the good of those around us. So as we encounter Christ here in the Mass today, let's be renewed in that grace of God, to not worry about being successful, but about being faithful to walking in our commission, to have Jesus live in and through us each day.